it feels like the energy transition is a left agenda. How do we engage with people on right-wing end of the spectrum in a way that's useful and collaborative when oftentimes they're so easily turned off by the ideas of renewable energy?
That's an incredibly important question. I guess a starting point would be to understand the standpoints of the other party, to also understand the counter arguments, and perhaps even understand where the resistance comes from. Because most of the times when resistance is being manifested in practice, it doesn't necessarily has to do with the transition itself, but what kind of outcomes it might bring. So let's say fear of cost, fear of loss of resources, fear of loss of individual freedom. And these are all valid concerns. But I guess what's very important is that there should be a dialogue. And there should also be not only a dialogue for the sake of talking to one another, but truly understanding each other's viewpoints, because only then we can move beyond them, or perhaps we can transcend them. And I guess that's the ultimate point that we want to reach, right? Because every transition will spark different anxieties. And that is something that will always be the case. So it's not necessarily that we should eliminate all these different forms of fears and anxieties, but that we should find ways to transcend them.
I also feel like sometimes the political right's viewpoint on renewables can be quite reductive in terms of its sort of market structure. So they tend to associate it with kind of like centralization, subsidies, stuff like that. Too much kind of centralized oversight on things. But that's not necessarily the case. There's lots of free open market private sector players that are kind of leading the way in the renewable energy transition.